And welcome back, YouTube. I need to do something about the lighting here if I'm going to shoot video. This is awful. Uh, and I might do that soon. I'm transforming my living room. It's getting better. So right now, it's almost 5 o'clock, Tuesday afternoon, Taco Tuesday. Hopefully I can get some tacos on the way to work. Still working on uploading old vlogs. I'm still a little behind, but I'm slowly catching up. This next video here, this is from early Sunday morning. It's actually my walk home from the Wander Inn Saturday night. Enjoy. And welcome back, YouTube. It is 3:02 a.m. Sunday, September 25th. I wasn't gonna record any video on my walk back from Wander Inn, where I had a great time singing karaoke. I live streamed it. A few people watched it, I guess. But we got some police action at the QT. Looks like they got somebody pulled over here as opposed to dealing with the zombies and the vagrants. Although maybe they're dealing with zombies and vagrants. Looks like they got the blue car pulled over though. Hard to tell. Come on, cut through here. Lots of sketchy looking homeless people inside the store, and their new armed security guard is he's on them. It was entertaining to watch, but it's private property, so I can't exactly be filming inside the store. But I'm on the sidewalk now. I got all the right in the world to film from the sidewalk. A police car and two police SUVs and I think that's a security vehicle over there. Nope, that's police as well. It just has no lights on. Looking like a traffic stop by the police car with the lights going, and it looks like the other three just kind of rolled in for backup. I think that guy's taken off. Apparently not much going on here. I was kind of hoping this would be as exciting as what I saw at the Circle K this morning. But looks like just a pretty run-of-the-mill traffic stop would be my guess. Of course, at this time of the morning on a Saturday night, Sunday morning, it could very well be a DUI sort of situation. Of course, tonight I'm neither drinking nor driving. Still on antibiotics from the dental work. And I've still been getting a little drainage and stuff. So I'm just trying to make sure that the medication works to the best of its capability. Even though it's a lot easier to sing karaoke when I'm drinking. With the exception of my attempt to sing Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes, I feel like my singing was pretty on point tonight. Especially when I was doing the Maynard Keenan stuff. I sang Prison's Text by Tool and also Three Libras by A Perfect Circle. Yeah, looks like not much action over there. Kind of disappointed. I was hoping to see some of the sketchy people rounded up and moved along, but yeah, we got the other officer hopping in her car. Looks like she's taken off. One of the SUV is taken off, and that guy's got his lights off, so apparently whatever happened, it's over and done. Kind of boring, actually. I busted out the phone thinking it would be a little more interesting than that. But Nope, not really. So, Priscilla was there the entire time. Probably the first half of the night that I was there. I forget what time I got there. I want to say probably about 11 o'clock. Stephanie was there. Stephanie was very drunk. And yeah, that was awkward, to put it mildly. Yeah, I'm just not that interested in Stephanie. It's just not. Yeah, just not. And it was almost like some high school shit, the way she was trying to get all wedged in between Priscilla and I. And to be fair, Priscilla kept her cool a lot better than I expected she would. All right, we got a shopping cart left behind with a little bit of trash in it. The people that have been camping here that had 2 shopping carts full of trash and a whole little tent and stuff, they've moved along. That's a good thing. In fact, other than the one guy as I was walking away from the QT that was there by the big power transformer with his shopping cart sitting down, doesn't seem to be much in the way of vagrants through here at all. Although there's a bunch of trash left behind there under the tree. And considering the way the city's dropping the ball right now, the way the city of Phoenix is dropping the ball right now with picking up trash, I don't expect there's going to be anybody along to clean that up. Although, trash pickup and Parks and Recreation are 2 completely different departments, so it's possible. They have been doing a pretty good job of keeping the lawn mowed and stuff here at Pierce Park. I love these old school cast cement City of Phoenix park signs. You know, I was thinking if I ran video, I was just going to talk about what I was attempting to talk about on my live stream that I couldn't seem to focus on. And right now I'm just tired. I can't really focus on that either. I was trying to, I know what I was wanting to talk about. Friday. Yeah, there was the videos about going to look at the lasers collection. Pretty excited about that. Although the more I think about it, the more I realize I can't really afford to buy that collection, and I don't really have a place to put that collection. Oh, but I want it so bad. I was actually chatting with my friend Nick, the vinyl record dude, texting him, and he told me, he actually gave me a number of like how many records he's bought in the last, oh man, I forget if he told me the last month or the last year, but it's a ridiculous amount. It's so wild, like how much his record store business has taken off since I met him. I want to say I met Rent the Vinyl Record Dude probably about gosh, I'm trying to think of what year. It feels like it was probably close to 15 years ago, more or less. And at the time he had a cheap apartment in Old Town Scottsdale, back when there was such a thing as cheap apartments in Old Town Scottsdale. Just a couple blocks away from Gilligan's. So there were nights I used to get pretty drunk while hosting karaoke at Gilligan's. And I'd just leave my car there and we'd walk over to his place and hang out there, do a little after hours drinking. And when I met him, he had a roommate and started just selling records on the side. He was working for somebody else doing tech support, like on-call tech support, fixing computer problems and stuff. And he just started selling records on the side as a way to make a little extra money, mostly because he enjoyed collecting records. And he had it was just kind of a way to pick up more records for himself and just flip the extra stuff. And he ended up having to get rid of his roommate because he was taking in so much vinyl that he didn't have room for it in his bedroom, and didn't want to fill his living room with it. And he ended up turning it was a 2-bedroom apartment he had, and he ended up turning the second bedroom into just storage for all the vinyl. And then his dining room was kind of his area dedicated for packing and shipping. It's just crazy how much his operation has expanded since then. And the warehouse space that he has up in the Scottsdale Air Park it's not huge, but it's substantial. And yeah, he told me that he was interested in the Laserdisc collection that I went to look at on Friday, but just felt that he's not as knowledgeable of the value of Laserdiscs, and Laserdiscs are a lot harder to sell than records are. And he said that he just didn't feel like he had room in the warehouse for it. He's just got so much stuff right now. Anyway, I should wrap this up. I don't really have much to say right now, other than Friday. One thing I did want to mention, Friday, after I came back from checking out the Lasers collection, and went back to work on my music, my karaoke music and stuff at the bar. I got there in time for tacos and just somehow didn't. I could have sworn I asked Heather for some, but I think she forgot. I never did get my tacos. And that's my error. I don't know, always thinking of my tacos. But the keyboard player for the band, who I'd previously had words with, where he accused me of messing with their cabling, which is, I don't mess with their cabling at all. There's no reason for me to mess with their cabling. I have my own cabling and my own speakers. But yeah, they accused me of that. And and not only did he accuse me, but he did it like on the microphone in front of like everybody in the bar. It was just like, it turned into this really upsetting shouting match. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? He's like, well, you're lying. I'm like, you said I did not. He's like, you calling me? He's like, yes, you did. I'm like, you calling me a fucking liar? Are you fucking kidding me? And after, and I was wondering, what exactly his deal was. And I think I figured out what his deal was. So generally speaking, after my show on Thursday night, I leave everything set up. I work on music for a little while. I mean, how long I work on it just depends on how tired I am and how much I'm just ready to get out of the bar. And of course, whether or not I have my car. I mean, if I'm riding the bus, I'm out there at about 5 minutes till 4, trying to watch the app really closely to see when my bus is coming, and flailing my arms about and shining my phone light so the bus driver sees that I'm there and doesn't drive past me, because God knows they've done that more than a couple times. Anyway, but I generally leave everything. Now, the way I'm doing my setup now, and I've been doing it for a while, I've added one of my Samsung powered speaker. It's on the left side of the stage, so stage right in the corner, in front of the band speakers. And I put mine up on a tripod stand and put it pretty high. That way, it's all the people that are singing, dancing, whatever. It shoots the sound over them, and it sounds really good. Like, it gets the sound all the way to the back of the area where all the tables and stuff are. But it's directed pretty much. It makes it to where you can hear it really good all the way through the room, but it's it's not as loud behind the bar. It's not directing sound at the bar, so the bartenders can actually hear to take people's drink orders and food orders. This looks questionable. Anyway, someone would be pulling into the cemetery at 3:16 in the morning. Anyway, so I have that, and I'm sure there's some power there, but I didn't want to. They've got so many. The band's got so many cables and stuff in that corner that I didn't see an obvious place to get power over there close to the speaker, because the Samsung is a powered speaker. I've run an XLR cable to it, and then it's got its own amp built in. So so I got to run a power cable up to it. It uses the same kind of power cable as a standard like desktop PC. With the 3 prongs that are. I wish I knew what the heck that standard is called. For years, I've been jokingly calling it an Optoma projector power cable, because I own an Optoma projector, and it uses that exact same kind of cable, as do most computer monitors, as do a lot of consumer electronic equipment. I got some amplifiers that use that same kind of connection. And when I was searching for a replacement bulb for my Optoma projector, one of the things that popped up in the search was an Optoma projector power cable, and it was just this standard power cable, standard computer AV power cable, but it was labeled as, the auction title was, or the title on eBay for the product was Optoma projector power cable. And then it showed pictures of it, and then it had a list of compatible with all these projectors, and had model numbers on it for the person who, I guess would be looking for a power cable for an Optoma projector and knew their model number, but wasn't smart enough to look at the power input and go, oh, that's just a standard power cable. And then I looked at their store, the person with the eBay store selling that, and they had that same product, and they were probably just getting them in bulk from China, but it was an American seller. They had that same product, that same exact cord. This is a totally standard cord. I've got tons of them. They're $1 all day long at thrift stores or at Ghettotronics, but they had all these different listings with different products with the brand name, component name, power cable, and then a list of models in the description. It's like, well, if that's how you move more of those cheap ass cables for 5 times what the price should be, then or probably 10 times what the price should be. They were charging a ridiculous amount for a $1 power cable you can get anywhere, almost anywhere. Yeah, and that was just hysterical to me. So I showed it to Priscilla. That's kind of been an inside joke, because I don't know what the proper term is for that power cable, but I'll bicycle bumping some bass. But yeah, I'll be like, an Optoma power cable, projector power cable. Anyway, so as high up as my speaker is, most of those cables that I have don't even reach all the way to the bottom of the speaker stand. So what I end up having to do is run an extension cord to it, and I've got several extension cords. But since there's no power outlets readily available near it, completely at the opposite edge of the stage. I have it at the front of the stage right. So in the back corner of the bar, so stage left, all the way at the back of the stage. I'm using the term stage loosely. It's just a chained off area that's the same level as the dance floor. there's a big outlet strip, and to be honest, it probably belongs to the band. And it's got a cool looking LED, like flashing colored light thing that's plugged into it. And when I turn it on, I've noticed that nothing else comes, when I hit that power strip, I turn it on, I notice nothing else comes on. It's readily accessible, and there's always, 2 or 3 open plugs. So I just plug my extension cord into there, and I've got a cord that I bought specifically for, I feel like I've vlogged about it, but that was so, it was over a year ago, so maybe I didn't, I don't know. But I bought a cord for when I had the gig over at the Union Jack up in North Scottsdale. God, I thought that was going to be my dream gig, and it was so short-lived. I talk about business owners making all kinds of promises and not following through. I'm curious if they're even still in business. It's been so long since I've had any real reason. And the only thing I've had a reason to go to North Scottsdale for is to go to the Vinyl Record Dude store. And last time I went there, I went on public transit, so it was tough enough to get there and back. But anyway, so I bought a cord there, and yeah, I definitely overpaid for it. I had another one that I bought at a Kmart that was down to the point of selling their fixtures for $1. That one broke a while back. The ground lug broke off of it. But I mean, I got way more than my dollar's use out of it. And I'm going to rebuild it. I bought a replacement plug from Ace Hardware for $1.50, $2, something like that. I chop the cord off, put another plug, chop the molded plug off of it, and put another plug on it. It'd be good to go. It just won't be the flat profile plug that was on it. But anyway, so I got this. I don't know what I paid for it. I want to say probably $12-ish, but pretty nice extension cord. But like it's heavy duty, grounded, but flat. And on the end of it, instead of just a single end, it's got this thing that has 3 plugs on it, all grounded. I don't know what the wattage is or what the amperage is. It's what it's rated for, but it's fairly high, heavy duty and high power. So I run that to about the middle of the front of the stage, so right behind the chain. And then at that point, I put my microphone receiver, my AKG microphone receiver. It's on a set UHF frequency, and it's a great sounding mic. It's really reliable, but it's kind of susceptible for interference. And if it's getting interference, RF interference, there's nothing I can do to eliminate it. It does not have a squelch adjustment. It's not tunable to a different frequency. The best I can do if I'm getting interference, and I do get interference with it at Bullocks, is to just move it around. If I set it where I set up my DJ stuff, my karaoke DJ stuff, it'll get interference. I can't have it sitting on the table with me. It's just completely useless there. But I found that if I put it in the middle of the front of the stage, it's just fine. I don't have any issues with interference there. I don't have any issues with interference there. And it puts the antenna like more line of sight to where everybody sings. And from where I'm at, like I can see the LEDs on it. So, I know if it, for some reason it loses power or if it's losing signal. I can see the two LEDs on it very clearly. So I generally put that mic receiver on the floor, on the stage on the floor, but behind the chain where nobody's going to step on it and kick it. And have its power, it's got a wall wart type power adapter. I think the thing runs on 9 volts, whatever, which I plug into one of those outlets on that extension cord, the heavy duty extension cord that I bought at Staples. That's got the 3 outlets. And then into the other one, I used to run the other one, the one I bought for $1 at Kmart, but it broke. So now I'm running, because I definitely need to have my Samson speaker grounded. If it's not grounded, that thing hums. So that one, the next cord that I grabbed, and I grabbed it out of my kitchen, is like a really long, outdoor orange, bright orange, heavy duty extension cord. It's considerably longer than I need, but it's there. It was just convenient. I brought it over there. It's been over at Bullocks. Like when I brought it over there, it was when I didn't have a car, or it was borrowing a car. Anyway, easier, when I don't have a car, it's really difficult to go get specific stuff. And of course, I'm trying to not spend any money. So if I have something, even if it's not exactly what I need or if it's a little bit overkill, if it does the job and I get it where it needs to be, I use it. So I've been using that cord. I forget how much those cost, but they're not particularly cheap. So anyway, I run that from the the middle of the stage is where that other extension cord, which is not so long, ends by my mic receiver, and then I run that to the Optoma power cord, projector power cord, the standard power cord that goes into the power speaker. I know, boring as hell. That's I know, I'm going into minutia and details. Feel free to click off this video now. It's not going to get any more interesting. So I run that there, and then I've got, obviously I have to run audio to that speaker, and I've got a really long, and it's longer than I need, but it's, XLR because it's balanced audio. It doesn't matter. You can run really, really long runs of XLR and you won't get any hum. It'll sound clean. So again, like I could probably find some shorter ones that'll do the job, but I just brought a really long one there because I knew it would reach, and I've just been using that one. And I run it from the output of my mixing board directly to the input of that speaker, and then I've got another one that I run from there. I run them both across. I step over them, but nobody else steps over them. Behind the chain of the stage, and then to the center of the stage, into the mic receiver. Well, sometimes I'll pick that up at the end of I'll pack that stuff up at the end of the night, except for the speaker. I need help to get the speaker off the stand. But yeah, I was just so fixated on working on music. I thought that was Priscilla's SUV. I told her I was going to text her when I got home. I'm just like walking around the block talking. Whoops. Just seemed real nervous about me walking. It's like, don't you understand? I walk everywhere. Hello. She didn't seem that concerned about it the 8-9 months I didn't have a car. Anyway, shit, if she was more concerned about it then, we'd probably still be living together. Anyway, so I just left it. It's just how I described it. Just how I did during my show. Left all that stuff there at when I left, and I left probably about 4:30 in the morning because I was trying to get whatever segment of the vlog, the one that took forever to upload because the internet connection was so bad on Thursday and didn't get any better in the day on Friday. In fact, it was so bad on Friday that in order to get a better connection, I hotspotted my Obama phone and used that for internet, which explains, why I was throttled for my live stream tonight. Now, I do think it once I got to the karaoke bar, it probably did good because I'm sure the Obama phone just immediately latched onto the bar's Wi-Fi and streamed it over the Wi-Fi. So, anyhow, so I noticed when I got to the bar, and I got there pretty early. I want to say I got there at I got there at 10 a.m., but the door wasn't open at 10 a.m., and I thought, well, shit, maybe they open at 11. So I went over to Savers, bought some music, and came back at 11. Heather's like, no, I was there. I just hadn't opened the door yet. You should have knocked on the back door. I'm like, now you tell me. Whatever. I had a good time buying music at Savers. I know I shouldn't be spending money on that, but I haven't done the thrift store music thing for a while, and I just love doing it. And I was a little more frugal than I normally am. I mean, I actually left Joe Satriani CDs behind, which is not like normally I'd buy anything Joe Satriani, but I'm just trying to, not spend any more than I need to. I need to spend anything, but I'm trying to keep that total as low as possible. But I wanted some stuff, and I was, needed to kill an hour. At least I thought I needed to kill an hour. Anyway, get to the bar about 11 o'clock, and one of the first things I do is I walk back to my stuff, and I notice that my microphone receiver and all the cables are, instead of at the front of the stage, like right behind the chain, are pushed all the way back, like right up against the drum set that the band leaves there. Which I didn't leave that stuff there. That's not where it was when I left at 4:30 in the morning. And then the other thing I noticed is that my microphone receiver, which was sitting on the ground, the whole bottom of it was wet. Not like drenched, but like it was wet. And then the other thing I noticed is that the band's cables over by where the keyboard player sets up were also pushed aside, and then they have a speaker stand that they leave there. And sometimes it has a monitor speaker on it, sometimes it doesn't. Obviously, they take it to other gigs when they need to, but when they don't, they just leave it at the bar. And that speaker stand was knocked over. It was definitely not knocked over when I left. And so just as a courtesy, I like stood it back up. I didn't fuck with any of their cords because I didn't, I've already been accused of fucking with their cords. I'm not fucking with their cords. I just didn't I just didn't feel good about leaving the speaker stand knocked over. But yeah, really kind of taken back that that my mic receiver was so wet. And that's when it had occurred to me that between when the night staff leaves, which could be as late as, God, I think I've left there sometimes, stayed with there, and they just had so much to clean and stock and in between the kitchen and the bar that we're not out of there till literally 6 in the morning. But sometime between 6 in the morning and when the night crew leaves it's at the latest, and I don't know when the day crew gets there, to be honest. I know they open at 10 a.m. though, so probably I would estimate at least a half hour before then. Sometime during that early morning window between say 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. there's a cleaning crew that comes in. Now I don't know if it's a cleaning person or if it's a small crew. I really don't know, but they the bartenders and the kitchen staff, they just clean the kitchen and behind the bar and the bar itself. I mean, they take all the drink, all the cups and trash off the tables, but there's a crew that comes in and vacuums and mops the floors and wipes down the tables extra good and whatnot. And apparently they've decided they also need to mop the stage area. So they pushed my cables, and I'm assuming, and also got my mic receiver wet by just putting it back on the floor, which they mopped but didn't dry. Damn, every time I walk through, I trip on that damn branch there. Wish Phoenix would pick up their freaking bulk trash. I'm gonna come down in the daytime and just cut some of those branches and push them so they're not blocking the alley like they are. On that note, I just found my sister's hedge clippers that I inadvertently drove home from Oklahoma. They were in the back of my car and I forgot they were there, and I didn't realize they were here until I got back to Phoenix in my Lexus, and not really a cost-effective thing to ship. I haven't been back to Oklahoma since. So actually I have been back to Oklahoma since, but my brother John was driving, and the last thing on my mind was, I got to bring my sister Stephanie back her clippers. Whoops. Anyway, in my cleaning yesterday, I actually found them, so I can use them to cut those branches and get them the hell out of the alley. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, cabling. It's a cleaning person moving shit around, getting my mic receiver wet. That's always been a pet peeve of mine when other people mop, is people that mop and leave a floor wet. I mean, granted, I mopped floors as a kid, help my mom clean. But I never mopped a floor professionally. You don't see my air quotes, so I'm using it there. I'm more floor professionally until I got one of my first jobs as a kid. I think it was a little bit after my 16th birthday that I was hired at McDonald's in Douglas, Wyoming. And that's when I was taught by a night shift manager how to properly mop. And the way I was taught was that you use 2 mops, a wet mop and a dry mop. First you sweep, you get everything up off the floor, and then you go through and you mop it. You put up the wet floor sign and try to do it when there's in an area where there's no customers, and put that wet floor sign so they know that there's a wet floor there. Mop it good with the wet floor mop, and kind of scrub at it, make sure it's clean. And then once you're done with a certain area with that, you go over it with the dry mop and make sure everything is dry. Apparently the people that do the cleaning at Bullock's don't do the dry mop. I've seen a lot of places that mop floors that don't bother to follow with the dry mop and leave the floor dry. They just leave it wet, too dry, which That never sits well with me. A wet floor is not a clean floor. It's a wet floor. It's not clean until it's dry. Yeah, that floor was still wet when I got there at 11 a.m., as was the bottom of my mic receiver, which I think they kind of tried to drag back to where they saw it. I was kind of put off that they even moved it. And at this point, I'm reasonably convinced that that's probably who messed up. If that's their regular procedure, that's probably who messed up the keyboard players' cables that he was blaming on me. Anyway, I have not really seen that. Other than seeing him perform, I have not seen that guy or talked to him since we had our little conflict. And I've told the other band members, they all saw it happen, and they were looking at him and looking at me like, Dan's a cool guy. Like, I don't think he did it. But, they weren't going to stand up to him. I think he's one of the band members' fathers. And I think, if you were to say, like, whose band it is, it's his band. I mean, it's easy to look at Cece, who's the lead singer, and think that it's her band. But, I mean, I've seen promotional pictures there's a promotional picture of the band in the bar that doesn't even feature her. So I think she was, added later. Hey, let's get a voluptuous, attractive singer. That'll make the band more appealing, and it definitely does. And mind you, a bilingual. Anyway, Cece's awesome. Love Cece to death. And the other two members of the band, there's actually been a guitarist change since I've been working at Bullocks and working with those guys. But yeah, so I'm not talking to him. So anyway, I've got my headphones on, and I'm busy working on previewing tracks, probably working on some Aerosmith stuff. Did a lot of Aerosmith stuff on Friday, I mean. But I see him setting up, and part of me wants to go over and tell him about, hey, I think I know who messed with your cables, and tell him what happened with my cables, how they were moved, and how and were wet, and tell him that's probably what happened with your stuff. By the way, your speaker stand was on the ground, and I picked it up for you. Just sat it there. Well, but anyway, he looked like he was pretty occupied with what he was doing, setting up his keyboards. Usually they're already there when I get there on Thursday. They're already set up, but apparently they had another gig somewhere, and he had to bring them back. So, anyway, he had. I saw him setting them up, and I thought, I should probably go tell him once he's done. I was assuming he would actually go sit down at the bar and chill, but apparently once he was done with that, he split. I didn't see him leave. So, but yeah, I didn't want to interrupt him while he was doing his thing, and plus I was busy doing my work. Anyway, backtrack a little bit. Right after I got back from looking at the Laserdisc collection, I went ahead and unplugged my speaker. I unplugged the power cord, the Optoma projector power cord, and kind of coiled it up and set it on the floor on the stage there. Did the same thing with my orange extension cord, set it next to it. Did the same thing with my white flat extension cord that I bought when I was working over at the Union Jack. Bought it specifically for that gig, but it came in handy at Bullocks. And coiled all three of them up. And then next to them, I just had my XLR cables on the ground. They were still plugged into my mixer. Didn't really mess with them, but I had them on the ground there. And then the speaker was still sitting on the stand, because I need to get somebody to help me to get the speaker off the stand. Somebody needs to physically hold the stand down. Because the stand will. If I just lift the speaker up, the stand will come up with it. So anyway, I thought, I was waiting for some file to convert or download or something. I don't know. I was waiting on my computer for whatever I was working on with the music, and so it's like, well, I'll go get a little head start unpacking this stuff up. Call my cables up. Anyway. A couple hours later, when I'm ready to actually pack everything up and finishing up like my last things on the computer and starting to pack that stuff up. I go over and my XLR cables are still on the ground, but my power cable and my two kind of high-end pricey extension cords, I mean, the power cable's no big deal. I get boxes of them and they're $1 all day long. But those other extension cords are not common. Well, I mean, they're fairly common, but they're expensive extension cords. I mean, between the two of them, I've probably got, this is like $25. $25 is a lot of money to me right now. Yeah, they're gone. Absolutely gone. And I looked around to see if maybe he mistakenly thought they were his and used them to connect his stuff, but I didn't see them, absolutely didn't see them plugged in. So I don't know that he took them. I didn't see him take them. All I know is he was there and he was setting up his stuff. And it's highly likely his stuff was moved because my stuff was moved, presumably by the cleaning crew, because who the hell else was there? I mean, I left at 4:30 in the morning and I came back at 11 a.m. I can't imagine there was anybody else in that space in that time. I'm 100% convinced he left him. That really just killed my mood on Friday afternoon. Like, I was ecstatic after the whole Laserdisc thing. But yeah, finding that, and then I asked CC about it, I asked Junior about it, the bass player, and he was kind of trying to just like avoid me. I didn't do it. I'm like, oh, I'm just saying, can you talk to him? I gotta go. I didn't stick around for him to go. By that time, I was pretty tired, and that just killed my mood, seeing that my cords were gone. And it could be an honest mistake. Maybe he thought they were his. Maybe he didn't know they were mine. But I mean, my God, I was there. Even if I had my headphones on, he could have tapped on my shoulder and asked me. And I totally forgot. I was totally going to go there tonight to try to be there right before they started playing. I was wanting to get there about 8:30, and it just completely slipped my mind. Last night. I don't know. It's Sunday morning, but I'm on rock and roll time, so it's late Saturday night. Yeah, I'm kind of frustrated about it. And I don't know that I'm going to have time to go to Bullock's really before Thursday, so I'm going to have to make sure that I have some other extension cords before Thursday, which is really freaking frustrating. Anyway, sorry I had to vent that to somebody, so I shared it with the world on the internet. Good times. I don't know, really frustrated about that, and I don't know. Hopefully CC talked to the keyboard player. I don't even know the keyboard player's name. Hopefully CC or Junior talked to him. I made a little list and stuck it on top of his monitor speaker, but then I realized my handwriting was atrocious. Yeah, my handwriting is degrading right along with my vision, so I don't know. But I do need to make sure I have the cables, redundant cables, when I go in on Thursday, just in case those ones don't turn up. I want to believe they're going to turn up. I want to believe that it wasn't done vindictively, that it was an honest mistake. I mean, I've probably picked up some other people's cables before, just grabbing cables in a hurry and not realizing it. I've had a couple times where I've realized it's like, ooh, wait, I don't think this was my cable. I've come up on a couple extra, quarter-inch cables or XLRs over the years that way. And then I've occasionally lost one or two, and I generally don't sweat it. But I don't know, just the whole way that went down was just kind of frustrating to me. Anyway, thanks for coming with me on this redundant walk around the block and around the block and around the block again. Just wanted to get that story off my chest.